Remember when cars growled instead of beeped? When the only screen in your ride was the windshield and it came with a crack that told a story? Yeah, those were machines with soul. Your grandpa's old truck, still kicking like it's on a mission from 1972. Meanwhile, today's cars, one software glitch away from a nervous breakdown. These aren't just cars, they're war horses that outlasted trends, tech, and time itself. So grab your shades, roll down that manual window, and let's ride into the golden age of overbuilt beasts, the 10 old cars that were built to last forever. Let's get into it. Number 10. The Mercedes-Benz W123, 1976 to 1985. Imagine a car so solid it makes today's SUVs look like cardboard boxes with Bluetooth. That's the Mercedes-Benz W123, built from 1976 to 1985. This thing wasn't just built to last, it was built to outlive civilizations. Mercedes engineers basically said, let's use double the metal we need, and then throw in more for fun. The doors, they weighed more than the hood of most modern cars. It's not confirmed, but probably true. Now get this, in the Rocco, these cars are still running as taxis today. Not 100,000 miles, not 200. We're talking 600,000 miles on the original diesel engines. And those engines, pure mechanical muscle. No turbo, no electronics. Just the kind of reliability that makes cockroaches jealous. They over-engineered everything. Even the central locking system had more backups than a space shuttle. And here's the kicker. Mercedes lost money on every W123 they sold. They literally made a car too good for profit. So if the world ends tomorrow, odds are you'll still see a W123 cruising past the rubble. Windows down, AC still working. Number 9. Honda Accord, 3rd generation, 1986 to 1989. AKA Japan's answer to the question, can a car last forever? While other car makers were busy cutting corners, Honda was holding meetings about screw threads. These cars were so well built, mechanics in developing countries still call them forever cars. In places like Cuba and Ghana, these Accords are prized like treasure, not because they're pretty, but because they just don't quit. We're talking engines that could run to 300,000 miles with nothing but oil changes and a little respect. Everything was made simple and strong. No confusing electronics. Manual transmissions that shifted like butter. Even the cup holders, when Honda finally added them, were tested over 100,000 times. Who does that? Honda does. You break down in the middle of nowhere with one of these? Just grab a wrench, some duct tape, and maybe a YouTube tutorial. You're good. They're not fast, they're not flashy, but they are unstoppable. Like your grandma's cast iron skillet on wheels. Number 8. Jeep Cherokee XJ, 1984 to 2001. Built between 1984 and 2001, the Jeep Cherokee XJ was less of an SUV and more of a mobile survival unit. The engineers didn't want just another off-roader. They wanted something that could survive the end times and still get you to work Monday morning. Its unibody frame made it both lighter and stronger. Kind of like building a tank out of Legos, and somehow making it work. But the real star here? That 4.0-liter inline-six engine. This thing could hit 300,000 miles with nothing more than oil changes and good vibes. It had no fancy terrain modes, no fragile sensors, just a transfer case, solid axles, and enough ground clearance to drive over your problems. Jeep made it so tough, even the US Postal Service bought thousands of them. If the post office, known for chewing through vehicles, can't kill them, nothing can. There's even a group called the XJ Mafia that basically worships these things. And no, they're not kidding. They trade survival stories like war vets. These SUVs have been flipped, flooded, shot at, and they still run. Finding a clean XJ today is like finding a unicorn, but the unicorn probably wouldn't last half as long. Number 7. Ford Crown Victoria, 1992 to 2011. Alright, picture this. A car so tough, it was trusted by cops, taxi drivers, and the occasional grandma who wanted to feel like a sheriff. It wasn't fast, it wasn't fancy, but it was the Chuck Norris of sedans. Ford basically said, let's build a car that can crash into a wall, back up, and still chase down the bad guy. And they did. The Crown Vic had this body-on-frame setup, basically a truck in a tuxedo. The 4.6-liter V8 engine under the hood wasn't screaming for speed. It was just chilling, cruising at highway speeds like it was half asleep. But don't let that fool you. This car could take a hit and keep moving like nothing happened. Now, here's the crazy part. When police departments were done with them, after serious abuse, taxi companies bought them and ran them for another few 100,000 miles. And then, regular folks bought those and kept driving them like they just rolled off the lot. Crown Vics got so legendary, some police departments started stockpiling them before Ford stopped making them. It was like a national emergency. Quick, buy all the Crown Vics before it's too late. And to this day, you might still see one doing Uber runs with 600,000 miles on it, still smelling faintly like donuts and justice. Number 6. Volvo 240, 1974 to 1993. Now, if IKEA made cars, they'd probably look like the Volvo 240, square, practical, and built to outlive your grandchildren. From 1974 to 1993, this Swedish legend was more than a car. It was a moving fortress. It had the styling of a refrigerator, but the strength of a tank. Volvo didn't mess around. Their idea of safe and reliable was overkill in the best way possible. The 240's engine? Yeah, it could survive just about anything. There are stories of people running these engines without oil, and they still managed to keep going, like the car was too polite to die. This wasn't a techie car full of gadgets waiting to break. It was pure, honest mechanics. Manual transmissions that felt like snapping Legos together. Heating systems that could warm an igloo. Seats so comfortable, your chiropractor would cry tears of joy. And the safety? Oh, buddy. Crumple zones, reinforced steel, and seat belts when other cars were still asking, do we really need those? These cars hit 400,000 miles like it was no big deal. Some made it past 1 million. Number 5. Toyota Hilux pickup, 1979 to 1995. Now let's talk about a truck that basically refuses to die. The Toyota Hilux, known in the US as the Toyota pickup, was made between 1979 and 1995. And let's just say, if you had to survive a zombie apocalypse, this is what you'd want to drive. Toyota didn't just build this thing tough, they made it invincible. The engines, the 22R and 22RE, were like mechanical cockroaches, timing chains instead of belts, simple fuel injection, and cooling systems strong enough to handle the surface of the sun. Remember Top Gear? They tried to destroy one, like actually destroy it. They drowned it, set it on fire, hit it with a wrecking ball, and crushed it under a building. And guess what? It still started. No CGI, no tricks. That's just how stubborn these trucks are. You can find Hiluxes in war zones, deserts, jungles. Anywhere humans probably shouldn't be, there's a Hilux carrying half a village and a goat in the bed. If the world ended tomorrow, there'd still be cockroaches, Keith Richards, and a Toyota Hilux rolling through the dust like, what's next? Number 4. Chevrolet Suburban, 1973-1991. If you ever needed to tow a house, haul a boat, and fit your entire extended family in one vehicle, meet the Chevy Suburban, specifically the 1973 to 1991 version. This thing wasn't a car. It was a rolling fortress with windows, a survival shelter on wheels. Under the hood, you had your choice of the 350 small block or the big block 454. Engines that didn't care what you threw at them. These weren't high-strung performance beasts. They were low-stress, torque-packed monsters built to haul stuff. The four-wheel drive system wasn't fancy. You pulled a lever, gears slammed together, and suddenly, you could drive through a swamp with a trailer full of rocks. These Suburbans were meant for real work. Ranchers, oil workers, firefighters. People who didn't want luxury, they wanted doesn't quit. The interiors were all business. Vinyl seats you could hose off, dashboards that didn't melt in the sun, and enough space to haul drywall, bikes, or your enemy's secrets, hypothetically. And here's the best part. These things are still out there, still hauling, still working, still refusing to retire. Because Chevy didn't build these to look cool. They built them to outlast civilization. Number 3. Cummins-powered Dodge Ram, 1989 to 1993. All right, buckle up for the truck that made people say, Wait, they put that engine in this thing? We're talking about the 1989 to 1993 Dodge Ram with the 5.9L Cummins diesel. This wasn't just a truck. It was a tow-happy, smoke-puffing monster powered by an engine meant for big rigs. Here's the deal. Dodge took a commercial-grade engine, one that was usually hauling freight across entire states, and stuffed it into a pickup. That Cummins engine was rated for 1 million miles. In a pickup, it wasn't working hard. It was basically chilling. And the best part? No fancy electronics. It used a mechanical injection pump that could run on diesel, old cooking oil, or probably barbecue sauce if you warmed it up. The manual transmission? A Getrag 360, built like it expected to carry logs for a living. This truck didn't just last, it became currency. Number 2. Mercedes-Benz W123 S-Class, 1979 to 1991. Now, let's talk about a luxury car that took built to last way too seriously. The Mercedes-Benz W123 S-Class, made from 1979 to 1991. This car wasn't just about riding in style. It was about riding in a tank wrapped in leather and wood. Mercedes gave their engineers a blank check and said, "Build the best car in the world." And buddy, they did. The W123 had paint so thick it could survive a sandstorm. The body was galvanized so well, rust just gave up trying. And the engines? Whisper quiet, but strong enough to outlive most people. The build quality was nuts. Doors closed with a bank vault thunk. The seats were basically recliners. The climate control system had backups for its backups. You'd think they were preparing for deep space travel, not morning traffic. Even the diesel engines, especially the OM6, could run on anything flammable and still purr. Gas versions too, just regular maintenance and they'd pass 500,000 miles like it was a Sunday cruise. Mercedes didn't just lose money building these. They practically became a charity for people who wanted luxury tanks. The W123 wasn't just a car, it was a statement, a rolling example of what happens when no one says no to an engineer. Number 1. Toyota Land Cruiser FJ60 FJ62, 1980 to 1990. Alright, time for the bonus beast. The Toyota Land Cruiser FJ60 and FJ62, built from the early 80s into the early 90s. These weren't just SUVs, they were rolling brick houses on wheels. The FJ60 came first, with that boxy look that screamed, "I can drive through a mountain if I feel like it." And the FJ62, same attitude, just with a bit more comfort and fuel injection. This was the family car for people who secretly wanted to be explorers. School drop-off in the morning, off-roading through a canyon by lunch. It had solid front and rear axles, a bulletproof drivetrain, and that old-school Toyota inline-six that just wouldn't quit. You could run this thing with oil made from crushed peanuts, and it would still get you there. It wasn't fast, no sir. Flooring the gas pedal just made the engine say, "Okay, give me a second," but it was strong. Built like it expected to spend weekends climbing rocks or pulling other cars out of ditches. And the inside? Pure 80s charm. Big steering wheel, upright seats, analog everything. No screens, no touch sensors, just knobs, metal, and stubborn reliability. People still drive them today, not as collectibles, but as daily drivers. Why? Because you can fix them with basic tools and a little bit of stubbornness. It's like driving a tank that happens to have a glove box. If there was ever a car that said, "Let's keep going, no matter what," the FJ60 and FJ62 are it. So, what did we learn? Some cars come and go, but others? They're timeless. Built to last, built to lead, built to never back down. Now tell me, what's the toughest ride you've ever owned? Drop it in the comments. And if you're still driving one of these legends, give it a nod. Loyalty deserves respect. Thanks for watching, gearheads. See you in the next one.